What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. Been a long time since I've been able to put together 2 videos in a day, but here we are. Lot to discuss. So many of you are not happy with me, and that's okay. We're to talk about X's and O's. Before I get into this, though, I want to thank my sponsor, Steel Supplements. Link and discount code down in the description. Also, talk about my Glance LED all the time. Going to change the way you play video games, watch sports, movies, TV. All you have to do is plug the unit in, tell it what you want to see. It's going to keep you up to date in real time on all of those things with no, again, I cannot stress enough, no subscription fee. NFL, NBA, NHL, UFC, you name it. Now, let's talk about X's and O's. Some of you hide from this. Some of you don't want to see this stuff intentionally. Take a look at this at speed. We're going to go back. We're going to focus on the interaction with this corner and wide receiver. And I want you to ask yourself, linebacker, corner, doesn't matter. How are we getting inside out here? Why are we running toward the sideline right here? Right? This is just a simple slant. How do we get turned around and give up all that room? Now, the end of the play was a sack, so it really doesn't matter. But let's look at this play at speed. And listen, there's a positive here. It's not all negative, but you have to look. Why do we have 3 players here that barely move by the time the runner's at the line of scrimmage? And this gap in the line, it's going to be a theme. One player responsible for that large of a gap. Now, I like the animation. I like how he kind of uses the momentum to spin off. But let's talk about one of the issues Madden has in terms of post-play celebrations just not making sense, not putting focus in the right areas. Because this player that misses a tackle, he's doing push-ups. Is this nitpicking? Yeah, maybe to some, but if you've played EA, you know when the focus isn't on gameplay, these are the results that we get. One more play here. And again, this to me is the most telling one. Right? You've got a blitz. You've really got to release the ball. When you're playing the game and you see that gap in the line and you see a linebacker corner come through, we're going to zoom in on the quarterback. But you know as a gamer, you know as a football fan, this ball has to be out. And there's open receivers here, by the way. But I want you to ask yourself, when you go back and you look at this gap in the line where 3 players could blitz through, what is EA showing you here? Okay, are they showing you an improved game, or are they forcing things to happen to show you it's improved? Because this quarterback, whether you like it or not, steps over into this pressure. Why is that? He runs right into the blitzer. And this pocket, by the way, right now, that doesn't look real good. You've got players all over the place. That's one of the big issues EA has with Madden, right? Pocket formation. Now, when they show this to us from the other side, I promise you, it looks even worse. You see the gap in the line. You understand the quarterback could scramble to the left, but they're trying to show you the improvements in this game. That's why it's even more telling here. Even though they angled it to try to disguise it, they're pretty slick with what they do. You don't really see how much of a movement the user has made to force this blitz, and then, of course, they cut away. All of that to say, is this really what you want to see? I want to go back to 3, 4, 5 years ago, where when it was time to showcase the game, we were showcase the game. We were, here's a half, here's a quarter, nonstop gameplay. If EA was really proud of what they built here, if they really felt like they'd earned your dollar, if they really felt like they didn't need to rely on you being excited and being positive and wanting this game to be good. Because let's be honest, you can think whatever you want about me. You can think I'm the most negative person. You can think no game can make me happy. You can think all of those things. But the reality is, if you go back and you look at the state of Madden, and you look at what got us here to one of the worst football games of all time, annually released, the result has been people championing EA when they didn't earn the accolades. People coming online, people leaving reviews, telling you this game is fantastic, this game is great. But then most people that played it realized this game is awful. And what made it awful? It was putting focus on the wrong areas, like choosing your celebrations. It was not developing X's and O's, not having enough animations in the game to properly simulate football, but making sure you had enough animations in the game to do other things. It was focusing on things that ultimately got removed from the game, like team celebrations. And it was generally not putting forth the proper effort. I think back to, I believe, the Madden 21 trailer, where they were trying to talk about, player IQ. And they were telling us that, Lamar Jackson was going to run to the end zone. He was going to know where he was. He was going to know where the ball was. They were going to fix all the goal line issues. And they edited together a sequence that made it look like Lamar Jackson was extending the ball to the goal line. And I went back and I looked and I assessed it. I was the first one to come online and say, you know what? These aren't the same plays. They spliced this together to make it look a certain way. In many ways, you just saw an example of them doing the same thing. You can think that it's just me being negative and you can be frustrated and angry at me all you want, but the reality is there's some sleight of hand here. And I'm not telling you this is going to be the worst football game of all time, but I'm telling you, if you actually play Madden and you respect yourself, understand, you respect yourself as a gamer and you're willing to sit back and actually look at what's being shown to you and see what's there, not what you want to see. Because so many of you were looking at what you want to see. So many of you want to think this game is completely different than Madden. And I'll give you a credit to the point that go back and you look, and I've assessed the trailer. I've got more videos like this coming out. The passing trajectory, it does look a little different. It does look like they've improved to the point I'm going to do a whole video on it. But is the passing trajectory going to be what really separates these two games? If you're talking about taking one game and using it to go over to another, which is what we know happened, you have to have two different dev teams working in sequence, but also together. They have to do the right thing for both products. What is fixed in Madden should be fixed in NCAA, but more importantly, what they can fix in NCAA, they should be fixing in Madden. And I'm not expecting it to be flawless. I'm not expecting this team to rebuild the broken legacy code we've seen for Madden for the last 5 years. But at the same time, if you've got so many people working on the same football game, how can we have even the slightest of issues from a trailer that they totally control? And why have we seen such little gameplay? And why is the gameplay that we're seeing clearly modified by someone? There's no excuse. If you are playing this game and you take the quarterback and you run him into a blitzer, people are going to laugh at you. I don't care if you're playing your friend. I don't care if you're playing online. I don't care if you're at a Madden tournament. People are going to ask you what you're doing. Yet so many of you sit there and you watch them do it and you clap your hands. And then you scoff at anyone that dares says anything you perceive as negative. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I think some of you have already set your expectations so high. I think some of you have convinced yourself this game is going to be so good that you're not really willing to sit there and look at what's actually being presented to you on the field. But don't worry, because I'm going to be the one that shows it to you. I might be the only one that does, but I will. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me this game's different. You can tell me this time it's a different EA Sports. It's a different football product. It's the best game. I don't know what I'm talking about. I must be the most negative person on earth. But I promise you, when this game comes out and you see some of these issues constantly impact you on the game, don't come to me crying. Don't tell me, Ryan, I was wrong, because I already know that I'm right. Been here a long time. Plan on being here a long time. And I promise you, EA is not the one to make the best simulation football game on the market. They've had a long time to do it. Nothing's going to change. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. You know I will be back as soon as I can with more commentary.